I haven't filmed a video in so long, how do I even do it? I am fully aware that it's halfway through January and basically way too late to be filming this video, but better late than never, right? Today I want to talk to you about my top 10 books of 2014. Last year was a great reading year for me. I read 65 books altogether, which I'm super proud of, and I just want to tell you about my favourite ones because I read some really good books. I haven't put them in any particular order, I'm just going through them in the order that I read them over the year because I find it really hard to compare them to each other and I couldn't think of a top favourite book or anything. Also, I am going to count a whole series as one book if I read the entire series because it can be really hard just to pick one. Basically, top 10 books / series of 2014. And I'm not counting rereads. If I reread a book this year, that doesn't count, only books that I read for the first time. Number 1 is Allegiant by Veronica Roth, which I don't have. I haven't got around to buying it yet. This is the third book in the Divergent trilogy, if you didn't already know, and I really enjoyed it. For a lot of people, they didn't really like it very much because it was quite slow paced and not a huge amount happened, and I do understand that, but I just thought all the explanations and the backstories and everything, it just blew my mind. It was such a good ending to the trilogy for me. Number 2 on my list is Fangirl by Rowell. Loads of people love this book and I agree with them. It's a really great contemporary that is very relatable and funny. It has a super cute romance and I'm not normally into romance. So basically I just love this book all around and I would definitely recommend it to you if you're a fan of contemporary novels. Although to be honest, I was quite late to the party reading this, so you've already read it, chances are, but if you haven't, you should read it because it's really good. Number 3 is The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime by Haddon. This is a book about a boy who has Asperger's or autism, and I just thought it was really brilliantly written. The author really managed to capture the main character's voice, and it just really gave an insight into what people with this condition might feel. The storyline and the characters were great, but what did it for me was the writing style. I just adored it. Number 4 is The Selection by Kiera, which I don't have because I lent it to my sister since it was so good. This is quite a girly book, but I really enjoyed it. Now, the writing style wasn't amazing, I could notice lots of flaws with it, but I flew through the book, I loved the story, and I really want to finish the trilogy soon. But I just really enjoyed how girly it was, and all the pretty dresses, and the whole concept of it was really cool, and I would definitely recommend it if you're into that kind of thing. Number 5 is the Unwind series by Neal Shusterman. This series was recommended to me by one of my friends, and I really enjoyed it. I read the first 3 books in May and the last book when it came out in November, and they were just all so good. It's quite a dark dystopian series, but I think it really deals with some important issues and it really makes you think. And the characters were great and the storyline was amazing, and they were just such good books. Number 6 is Sky on Fire by Emmy Laybourne. This is the second book in the Monument 14 trilogy, and I would just count the whole trilogy, but I read the first one I read the first one in 2013, so I can't really count the whole trilogy as this year. But I read the second 2 last year. I can't even, if I say this year, I probably mean last year. And if I say last year, I probably mean the year before that. I'm just confused. Anyway, I read these 2 in 2014 and I really enjoyed them, but I preferred Sky on Fire. It was definitely the best one in the trilogy, so action-packed and exciting, but also very dark, and it just had this really specific atmosphere to it, but I really enjoyed it. Number 7 is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. This was given to me for my birthday by one of my friends and it was so good. What I loved most about this book was the atmosphere it had. It really gave you this whole sense of magic and slightly creepy, and it was just so good. The setting was amazing. I so want to go to this circus. I wanted to go there so much. If you're a fan of beautiful writing and awesome setting and atmosphere, I would definitely recommend this book to you, but I know a lot of people found it a bit slow-paced and confusing. But personally I thought it was amazing. Number 8 is Amy and Roger's Epic Detour by Matson. I think I mentioned this in my 3 book tag, but it was just so good. It's one of my favourite contemporary books of all time, I think. It dealt with some really serious issues as well as having cute and funny bits in it, and although it did have romance in, it wasn't particularly a romance story. It was about a road trip, which I thought was really interesting, and I read it while on a car journey, so it was just so good. Number 9 is We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. I can't even describe my feelings towards this book. I read it twice in a row. I finished it and then started it again straight away because I was just in shock. Like, it was crazy good. It's a whole mysterious, kind of creepy novel, but it was really, really original and unique, and the writing style was gorgeous and the characters were really cool. It was a very quick, short read, but I thought it was amazing basically, and I would recommend it to everyone. And number 10 is Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas, but kind of the whole series. I haven't read Heir of Fire yet, but I have read The Assassin's Blade, Throne of Glass and Crown of Midnight, and they were all really, really good. My favourite was Crown of Midnight, definitely. It was so good. It is a fantasy series, and I haven't read a huge amount of fantasy, but I do love it, and this series was just so good. I can't wait to read Heir of Fire. I just haven't got around to it yet because I've got a lot of other books to read, but it's just such a good fantasy series, and again, I'm late to the party with this book, but if you haven't read it already, you definitely should, especially if you're a fan of awesome characters and epic fantasy stories. I know I made this quite brief and I haven't gone into detail about any of the books, but that's because otherwise it will be an endless video and you will get bored. There is so much more I could say about all of these books, but I thought I'd just give you a brief summary of my opinions, and hopefully it will encourage you to read some of them as well if you haven't already. I hope you enjoyed this video and enjoyed hearing about all the books that I really loved last year. If you did like it, please give it a thumbs up, and if you're interested in seeing more of my videos, I would really appreciate it if you subscribe. This year I'm definitely hoping to make more videos and more regularly than last year, because last year I made like one every 3 months or something, but I'm aiming for doing 2 videos a month. 2. One midway through the month and one at the end of the month where I talk about all the books I read over the month. Yeah. So thanks for watching, I'll see you next time. Bye!